The curriculum map and the trip to the wedding. Hi, my name is Heather Edick and I'm an instructional designer. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about curriculum maps, and it occurred to me during one of my ruminations that a curriculum map is a lot like a GPS. It provides directions to the user about the path instruction should take, but the user is still responsible for using one's judgment and experience to actually arrive at the correct destination by choosing appropriate content and teaching methodologies. So that reminded me of a trip my husband and I took back in 2005 to see our friends married beneath an old and beautiful tree on their friend's ranch. It was our first time to the Houston area, and without our GPS, we may still be driving around. The GPS would only get us so far, however. We needed directions from the groom for the last part of the journey, since we would be traveling off the mapped road. Knowing David as we did, we were not concerned, so on the day of the wedding, we took off in our rental car with our rented GPS programmed to find a certain intersection and a copy of the directions David sent us to get us the rest of the way. We traveled happily along, not minding the bugs that smashed our windshield and that made me think of the Mary Chapin Carpenter song. Now I'm going to mix these metaphors, so hang tight. Imagine that we're on the road and passing January County, February County, and most of March County without a care. A teacher would be using her map to guide her instruction for January, February, and most of March, also without a care. Her reflections in her diary maps show that the students are doing well, mostly scoring at the proficient level on the standards she'd assessed. She has taken care to work with those who are struggling by providing targeted and differentiated activities that are supposed to help them improve their understanding of the content and skills related to the standard. Much as we had to stop in March County at the gas station to squeegee the bugs off our car so we could see the road again. But then we were halfway through April County when we saw that the road was closed and there was a detour ahead. We were within half mile of our turn, but now we would have to go around it as we followed the detour. Our teacher experienced a similar road closure when she looked at her students' assessment results for March and their formative assessment results for April for one standard that bridged both months. She couldn't figure out what happened. In February, the students were fine. They were getting it. Why did proficiency suddenly drop? Sure, the questions were a little harder and required more application and analysis than they did in February, but still, what was she going to do to get them back on track again? And how were we going to get back on the right road again? Well, as it turns out, the solution to our problem was a lot easier than the solution to the teacher's problem, but both required specific guidance. The groom, who just wanted to get married without a hitch, was receiving phone call after phone call that day from panicking guests who came up on the road closure and the detour. He finally decided to send out a text message to everyone with new directions that came right from the ranch owner, Horace, and that explained how to get to the intersection via a circuitous route. The teacher also had to turn to others for guidance. She spoke with her team, other teachers in her content area, and her department head. She took all their advice, researched content in their student performance support software, and developed lessons to reteach that standard in a way that she hoped her students would understand. It meant that she would not reach all the goals in the curriculum map that month, but what was more important, her goal or her students' learning. So, in the end, we were a little late to the wedding, and the teacher was a little behind in her curriculum. But we got to see two beautiful people get married beneath a beautiful tree on an amazing ranch, and the teacher saw a huge improvement in scores related to that standard in May. The moral of the story is that a curriculum map is a great guide, but that a teacher's judgment, experience, and observations are just as important as the guide. The GPS has no idea what road closures and detours are in store for that teacher, after all. And thank goodness for Horace, otherwise, we would still be driving around the outskirts of Houston.